Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. Okay. Wondering if... I suspect the DOJ will... I do a little four-carter on the DOJ investigating irregularities with the election. That they should always be on the lookout for that. The bigger question is, will they do anything about it? And obviously what we would want is they do something about it before the inauguration. That if, the election results are so compromised that they could be changed, we'd like to see it done prior to the inauguration. Otherwise, you hand over the DOJ to a Trump appointee, and you might as well just kiss that goodbye. But, for entertainment purposes only, little four-carter, is the DOJ investigating irregularities in the 2024 presidential election? There's your Department of Justice. Maybe they are, and they're keeping a lid on things. Ongoing investigations. Finding evidence. Yeah, it looks like it. They're looking at things like things don't look right. And so there's ongoing investigations. They're not talking about it. I suspect they're going to especially be focusing on the swing states because that's where the anomalies appear to be. I saw one where I don't know if it was Michigan or Wisconsin. It was a female governor. Let me take a look real quick. Okay, in this case, I'm sorry, Josh Stein over in Raleigh, North Carolina. He won over Mark Robinson. Now, Mark Robinson, he was a problematic candidate to begin with. This may not be the ideal comparison, but Josh Stein won with 3 million, just a little over 3 million votes. He had 3,041,000 votes. Mark Robinson, the Republican who basically was, Martin Luther King on steroids, according to Donald Trump, he got 2.22 million votes. So he was 780,000 votes behind. So remember these numbers: 3.0 million, 2.2 million. North Carolina. Now, for the president, although 3.0 million voted for Josh Stein, only 2.7 million voted for Kamala Harris. And although 2.2 voted for Mark Robinson, basically MLK on steroids, Donald Trump's MAGA candidate, Donald Trump got 2.88 million. He got basically 200,000 more votes than Kamala Harris, even though the Democratic governor got about 750 to 800,000 votes more than the Republican candidate. So how did Donald Trump pick up basically 600,000 votes? Because if you're going to vote for Trump, wouldn't you vote for the governor that's most like him? I mean, I guess maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you're out there for voting for Trump. That's fine. But then to say, if you're going to make the argument that, people are voting for the president, Kamala Harris was the presidential candidate. If Josh Stein got 3 million votes, how come Kamala Harris only got 2.7? Shouldn't she have gotten like 3.2 or 3.3, and then maybe some people didn't vote because they're only voting for president? They didn't vote for Josh Stein? Doesn't make sense. Nope, not at all. Okay, so just want to look at what is the spiritual lesson here for Kamala Harris in all this. What is she supposed to learn from this election? Victory. Well, she was a gracious loser, that's for sure. When she conceded the election, said this is what you're supposed to do. New starts. Charging forward. Of course, it wouldn't be a reading with Donald Trump if all to the devil weren't in there. Page of Coins. If she wants the victory, she's going to have to charge forward with it. The country is going to have to go on a path that we've never been before to overcome corruption. Here's the thing, though, underneath it with the Page of Pentacles. Does she have the values to do it? Does she have the desire to do it? I think she probably knows she won, or has a strong inkling that she knows she won. She can look at this data just like I did and say, it doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't. Those numbers don't work. Now, mind you, I was thinking about this. That similar thing happened in Georgia, where Trump had like 10 or 20,000 less votes for president on the Georgia ballots than the governor did. But Kamala Harris isn't a polarizing character like Donald Trump was. And one can make an argument that out of a couple million votes cast, you know, there might be 1% or a couple of percent of people that are just like, you know what, you're a crybaby and I'm tired of your act in your jam. I'll vote for the Republican governor or the Republican senator, but I'm not going to vote for you because you're just a big crybaby. That I can understand. Kamala Harris wasn't like that. If anything, she was pretty much a rock star. Nobody was getting upset with Kamala Harris. I could see it if Hillary Clinton were running against Trump and lost. I could see that happening again. Heck, I could even see Joe Biden running against Trump and losing. You know, with all the attacks on inflation and his low energy and him being a doddering old man and stuff like that. Yeah, I could see Biden losing to Trump. But not Kamala Harris. Way too much energy, way too much vibe in there. So, if she wants it, she's going to have to go for it. Lesson for her to learn. Will she? Let these two cards pop out. Her values, well, she's all right. Does she need to do this? One more signifier there. She has to make a choice. Values for the country, her personal sanity, as it were. The Magician, choices are hers. What she values, doesn't value. I don't know. I don't know if she. It's obviously it's her decision what she wants to do with it. Life gave her a bunch of lemons. Is she going to make lemonade, or is she just going to take those lemons home and grow them a lemon tree? I don't know. It really depends on her values and on that. But underneath it all, there's a bit of a fight in her still. Will she fight it? I think she'll want to see more data. I think she'll want to see more data. And she'll make a decision based on that. I'm not going to say right now what her decision will be because they don't have enough information, I think, to really go down that path. Or at least enough that she's going to make up her mind. What's the lesson we're supposed to learn from all of this? Mind you, I do not... I'm not volunteering for this lesson again. No more group projects. Tired. Done with group projects. The part that still irritates me was something I had said just prior to the election. Or maybe even after the election. But definitely during the leading up to the election is that when Trump got elected in 2016, we looked to our leaders. We looked for President Obama to save us, and he couldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. We looked to our leaders in Congress, our political leaders, to save us from Trump. They wouldn't do it. We looked to the FBI, the CIA, then later the Justice Department to save us from him. They wouldn't do it. So we voted him out in 2020. Mitch McConnell had his little cinder moment for you Lord of the Ring fans to throw the ring of evil, ring of power into the lava of Mount Doom and destroy evil forever. I'm being hyperbolic here. And he chose not to. Chose to keep the ring of power for himself. Now, Trump's back. Mitch McConnell's trying to do damage control in the Senate to name a new Senate Majority Leader before the Trumpers get into the Senate, and trying to have MAGA take control of the Senate Majority Leader position. A little late there, Mitch. A little late to the party. But we did what we were supposed to do. In the end of the day, if none of those leaders, none of those lawyers, none of the politicians, nobody was going to save us, we had to save ourselves and vote. And we did in 2020, and we did in 2024. And this time, it looks like it was just absolutely stolen from us. And that is irritating because we did our part. Kamala Harris did her part, we did our part, and it doesn't matter. That's the demoralizing part. Will the Department of Justice, will the election be retallied prior to Inauguration Day? Actually, yeah, I'll ask that. Poor Carter. Knight of Cups. That's not boding well. Got the Ten of Coins, the High Priestess, the Death card, and the Ace of Pentacles. The reason why I say it's not a good card, because it could be like, yeah, you know, we saw some anomalies here. We can see where there's problems here with the voting, but there's no change there. I'm not seeing change there. What I'm seeing is placation. Yeah, well, we know that there's a problem, and there's a bunch of evidence. So this could be like, yeah, we could devote it because there's a bunch of evidence here, but it's going to fall back into that chicken shit cop-out position of what's best for the country. Oligarchs wanting to bring an end to our country in their pursuit of money. I think oligarchs are going to put an end to any speculation on that. Sorry to be a downer on that, but right now I'm feeling a whole lot more like a realist than a downer on this one. I will happily be wrong. I will happily embrace a recount prior to Inauguration Day. I don't see it happening. And the simple reason I don't see it happening is that we've seen it for the better part of 8 years, how slow the legal system works. By the time they've sorted this all out, the 4 years will be up. And it wouldn't even be that fast. It wouldn't even be that fast. Because I assure you, the minute Trump has his attorney general in there, they're going to put a stop to all investigations into this. They aren't going to allow for any investigations into this. You've got to be kidding me. I would be stunned if there were authentic investigations into this. Absolutely stunned. Because the repercussions for the Republican Party would be devastating. And you think that they're going to put their party at risk now that they've gotten they've gotten power of the presidency in the Senate and very likely the House? Ha! Good luck with that. I don't see that happening. Again, not trying to be a real downer here, but the reality is we're stuck. We know we voted. We know that this thing stinks to high heaven. But unless we're out on the streets, turning over cars and causing a ruckus, nothing's going to happen. I haven't seen any organized protests for me to go join over here. Just saying. So we will take it like the sheep that we are and just bleed away as the Republicans just lead us haul over another cliff. Maybe you can take some solace that some of the MAGA folks are going to fall off the cliff first. But I don't think we take a whole lot of solace in that. We would just assume that we don't go off that cliff at all. But it's not. As far as the country goes, it's out of our hands. We've done our part.